Hey, what's up, guys? Hope you're doing amazing and welcome back to the North Investor. So, as you might know, we've recently lived a huge event that's going to have an impact on all of us for the future and also for the present. So, for today's video, I'm going to talk about the impact of the American election on the stock market. So, first, I wanted to do a little video about which stocks should you buy if Trump becomes the new president or if Biden becomes the new president. But since I've just created my channel and since we already know the result of the election, well, I don't think that it would be really useful to do this kind of video. So I decided to first, well, take in consideration that Biden's going to become the 46th president of the USA, and don't take in consideration the facts that Trump's say that the elections were rigged and that he asked for a recounting. So we're gonna take the option that Biden's gonna be the new president, and I will give you my analysis of the situation and the impact of it on the stock market, and I'm gonna base my decision and what I'm gonna present to you about some articles that I've read in some financial journals. And yeah, because obviously, as you could and as you might know, well, the New York Stock Exchange is the biggest stock market in the world, and it has an impact not only in the USA but also in all the world. So now let's begin and let's take a look at the point number one. First of all, historically, it has been proved that after the election, for the first weeks, the market will tend to be more volatile. Plus, it has also been proved that for the first year, just after the election, the market will tend to slightly underperform. So it means that the market could go very high and very low after, so during the first weeks. And both of these events are happens actually because what we see is some political instability, and this comes from the facts that the USA passed from one political party to another one, and in this case it's two different political parties, so it's even bigger because it's from Republican to Democrat. So both parties will have some different views about how to manage the countries and their political plans. So it's gonna have a big impact on the stock market. So, however, you need to keep in mind that presently we are also living another big event. So, as you probably already know, we are in a pandemic. So the pandemic has had the impact to make the stock market very low. So we just before the elections, the stock market was very low. Plus, after the election, as I said earlier, well, we begin to find some great vaccine that were very good. So it made the market go high and go more higher. So go higher. So this makes that the markets, and I just say it, the market will not underperform for the first year after the election because the market was historically lower than what it was in the previous years. So now let's jump to the second point. So as I said earlier, first I wanted to do a little video about which stock should you buy if Biden or if Trump won the election. But now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna present you which stocks should you watch because Biden won the election, and which sectors are gonna be more volatile or more interesting to watch. So first, I wanted to start with the healthcare and the medical sector. So as we saw with the pandemic currently, we know and we notice that this sector is very important to our society, and it's gonna be very important for the next years to come and for the new decades to come. So because people are getting older, mainly the baby boomers and all those generation are getting older, so it's going to become even more important in the future. And as we saw in the past 3 weeks, companies such as Pfizer and BioNTech have developed some vaccines that are effective at 95%, I think. So it's really a great, it has been going up a lot, the stocks in value, because it has been shown to be very effective. So those two stocks, but there's also many other companies that are interesting to watch because they also develop different vaccines. But I just wanted to give you a little disclaimer and a little warning, because on this sector it's going to be important to watch it and to analyze it well, because right now with the switch of powers, what we saw in the Biden election, that is the fact that he wants to do a little reform of the medical side on in the USA. So you need to be very careful on this side, because there's plus as I said earlier, well, the after the election there's a period of instability, so the market's going to be very volatile. So as always, just analyze your stocks before to buy it, and it's very important to do it, especially in this market. But in long term, you could have some great growth with it. So I just give you a little warning to be very careful, but it could be interesting to watch those companies. So now let's take a look at the second vectors that I'm gonna present to you. Now, if we look at other sectors that will be impacted by the elections, we can see, for example, on the trade and on the tax side, that there will be some huge impact from the elections. So first, on the tax side, I'm not gonna talk a lot about it because it's more affecting the American citizens. So for the American people and the American companies, Biden wants to have a new policy to make the taxes higher for the people and the companies earning more than $400,000, which will have, obviously, I would say, an impact and a negative impact on their balance sheets and on their financial sheets. But on the trading side, well, with the coming of Biden as the new president, it will have, I think, a positive impact for the international trading, because as we saw with Trump politic, and obviously I don't want to talk about it too much and go in it too deep, but as we saw with Trump politic, he prefers to go with the he has like a more nationalism politic, and to encourage obviously the US product. But for example, on the trading side with China, I think that Biden might have like a better position and some better relation with China, which will probably help some companies in the USA. And if we look at the technology side, and we saw that this sector has really been improving a lot with the pandemic, and on this side and with the restaurant side and the food side, it has been the two big sectors that has been happy with the pandemic, because their stock takes a lot of value and in both sides. But on the technology side, we saw that the GAFA, which are the Google, Apple, Facebook, and Amazon, if I remember well, the technology and Amazon also side, they were really happy and they gained a lot of power, if we could say it like that, because they gained a lot of value from the fact that people were restrained to be at home. So they were using more Facebook, YouTube, and stuff, Netflix, and stuff like that, and also buying more on Amazon, which make their stock take a lot of value. So it was really some good stock to buy during the pandemic, because they gained a lot of value. But after the pandemic, I would give you a little, like, always be careful, and it's the same for the trade and for the trading companies, because always keep in mind that, well, on the technology side, well, those companies after the pandemic, they might go down a little bit because they went up really fast, and right now they are a little bit overvalued, if you want my idea and my opinion on it. So be careful on those companies. Just wait some drip, so sometimes that it might go down and after you can buy, but always do your research and your analysis. So to resume briefly what I said in this video, just always keep in mind first, and it's really important to keep in mind that the market right now is very volatile, which means that one day it could go very high and one day it could go very low. However, with the pandemic, we saw that the market was historically really low, which is presently coming to a starting point. So is currently going up, and right now you should watch and see which stocks, because there's many stocks that are still undervalued. However, just always keep in mind that we have some different time lapse. For example, as I said in my previous video, different time lapse, different tolerance of risk, different objective too. But if you want to go in the long term, which is something that I recommend you to do, and which is something that I do myself, what you should try to do is to diversify as most as possible your portfolio. So it means that you should not put all your eggs in one basket and try to go like all in technology, for example. So try to diversify it, because you will be able to protect yourself from non-systematic risk, which is the risk from like that you can control, and you can diversify it as most as you have some different stocks from different countries, for example. And it's the opposite of some systematic risk, which is the risk from the market, so you can control it. And yeah, so as I say, try to diversify it as most as you can, and like as I can say, in the long term you can't really be wrong, and right now it's a great time to invest still in the market. But be careful, because some sectors, as I said, as the GAFA, they went really high fast. So these sectors, maybe there will be some adjustment in the future, so be careful with this sector. But for the rest, always analyze your stocks and your investment. But there's always many sectors that are still undervalued. So guys, I hope that you really liked this video, and don't be shy to give me your comments and your feedbacks about this video. So did you like it, did you hate it, whatever. I would be very grateful to see, well, obviously some positive and some constructive comments, and also give me your ideas for future videos. I have some ideas of my own about some videos that I want to do in the future, but you can give me yours. And obviously don't forget that for only $0.0 you can subscribe and like this video, and obviously I hope to see you soon. Peace.